What does it feel like to live in a neighborhood that moves with the water? Not in a houseboat, not in a temporary shelter, but in a real community with real families, where schools, kitchens, living rooms, and gardens all float. In Rotterdam, that is not science fiction. It is everyday life. And during storm season, when the wind picks up, rain pounds the water, and the harbor begins to surge, these floating neighborhoods reveal one of the most fascinating ideas in modern urban design. Instead of fighting the water forever, some people have decided to live with it. Today, we are diving into how people live in Rotterdam's floating neighborhoods during storm season, what their homes are actually like, how safe they are, what daily life looks like when the weather turns rough, and why this Dutch city may be offering a preview of the future for coastal cities around the world. Rotterdam is no stranger to water. It is one of Europe's largest ports, built at the edge of the Rhine-Meuse Delta, in a country where a large part of the land lies below sea level. The Netherlands has spent centuries building dikes, barriers, pumps, and drainage systems to keep the sea out. But as climate change brings heavier rainfall, stronger storms, and rising sea levels, Dutch planners have started asking a difficult question. What if some places are better designed to float than to resist? That question led to floating neighborhoods. One of the best-known examples is the floating pavilion and the floating homes at Schoonschip in Amsterdam. But Rotterdam has become a major testing ground for floating urban life. Here, floating offices, floating farms, floating pavilions, and floating homes are not just experiments. Some are fully inhabited, connected to utilities, and integrated into the city's fabric. So how do they work? A floating home in Rotterdam is usually not a boat in the traditional sense. It is a structure built on a buoyant platform, often made from concrete or steel pontoons, that rises and falls with the water level. The house is moored to a fixed point or guided by vertical posts, so it can move up and down but not drift away. Think of it less like a ship and more like a building that happens to sit on water. This design matters enormously during storm season, when heavy rain causes water levels to rise, or when wind pushes water into the harbor and canals. The homes simply rise with the water. That is one of the biggest advantages. A normal house on low-lying land may be at risk of flooding, but a floating home is designed to adapt. Instead of standing against the changing waterline, it follows it. That does not mean life is effortless. During storm season in Rotterdam, residents still have to deal with strong winds, rough water, noise, and the psychological effect of living so closely to a changing environment. Even if the house is safe, the experience can be intense. Water slaps against the hull or platform. Loose objects outside can blow around. Walking on floating decks can feel different during rough weather because the whole structure shifts slightly underfoot. For some people, especially first-time visitors, that movement can be surprising. But residents quickly learn that movement is part of the lifestyle. Many describe it as gentle and predictable, more like being aware of the water than being tossed by it. The motion is usually small, and the homes are engineered to remain stable. In fact, in many cases, the movement is so subtle that people barely notice it after a while. For families living there, it becomes normal, like living in a house that happens to breathe with the tides. Storm season changes the way people prepare, though. Just as people in snowy climates expect to shovel driveways or insulate pipes, floating neighborhood residents in Rotterdam develop habits for rough weather. They secure outdoor furniture. They make sure mooring systems are clear and functioning. They keep an eye on weather forecasts. They understand that while the home can move safely, surrounding conditions can still be dangerous. And in a city like Rotterdam, weather awareness is serious business. The Netherlands has one of the most advanced flood management systems in the world. The Dutch have lived with water pressure for generations, and the public understands the importance of preparation. Forecasts are monitored closely. Infrastructure is built with redundancy. Emergency systems are designed to handle extreme conditions. Floating neighborhoods fit into that broader culture of planning. What makes these neighborhoods especially interesting is that they are not isolated experiments hidden away from city life. They are connected to transportation, public utilities, and urban systems. Residents may commute to work, take children to school, or shop for groceries just like anyone else in the city. The difference is that their homes are designed with water in mind. That means plumbing, electricity, internet, waste management, and access points all have to function differently. A floating home needs flexible utility connections. pipes and cables cannot be rigid in the same way they are in a standard house, because the structure rises and falls with the water. The engineering has to account for movement without breaking connections. This is one of the quiet triumphs of these neighborhoods. The technology is not obvious to casual visitors, but it is what makes normal life possible. During storm season, that behind-the-scenes engineering becomes even more important. The homes must remain secure against stronger winds and fluctuating water levels. The access bridges or gangways connecting the homes to land need to remain usable. Drainage must be managed carefully. Moorings must keep the structures aligned. And residents must trust that the system is designed not just for calm weather, but for the worst weather they are likely to experience. That trust is a major part of life in a floating neighborhood. For many residents, moving onto the water is not only a practical choice. It is a lifestyle choice. Some are drawn by the architecture, others by the sense of novelty. Many appreciate the views, the light, and the connection to water. There is also a strong environmental appeal. Floating neighborhoods are often discussed as a response to climate adaptation, especially in low-lying countries where land is scarce and vulnerable. In Rotterdam, this is not just about survival. It is about rethinking how cities grow. Traditional cities often expand by paving over land, building embankments, and pushing nature farther away. Floating neighborhoods offer a different idea: build on the water without permanently sealing it off. That can mean less pressure on valuable land, and potentially more resilience as sea levels rise. Still, the reality of daily life in storm season is not romantic all the time. Imagine waking up on a rainy November morning. The sky is gray, the wind is steady, and the harbor water is restless. You make coffee while the home shifts slightly beneath you. You look out the window and see reflections broken by rain. Outside, the walkway may be slick, and the air may carry the sharp, salty feel of a strong gust. It is beautiful, yes, but also humbling. Living on water makes weather more present. In a normal inland neighborhood, a storm might be something you hear on the news. In a floating neighborhood, it is something you feel through the environment around you. Residents often become more aware of wind direction, wave action, water level, and seasonal changes. The water is not a distant backdrop. It is part of the architecture of life. That closeness can shape community culture too. People in floating neighborhoods often share practical knowledge. They talk about maintenance, weather alerts, and how to handle particular conditions. There is a kind of mutual awareness that comes from living in an environment that is slightly unusual and highly engineered. In some ways, it creates a neighborhood identity stronger than in many conventional developments. Of course, floating neighborhoods also raise questions. Are they affordable? Can they be scaled? Are they truly sustainable? And are they a luxury solution for a few, or a real answer for cities under climate pressure? Those are fair questions. At the moment, floating neighborhoods are still relatively limited in size compared with traditional housing districts. They tend to be expensive to build because of the engineering involved. The materials, mooring systems, utility connections, and design expertise all add cost. That means they are not yet a universal solution for every housing shortage or every flood-prone area. But they are proving something important. Adaptation is possible, and that lesson matters far beyond the Netherlands. Around the world, coastal cities are facing similar challenges. Sea levels are rising. Storms are becoming more severe. River deltas are under pressure. Cities from Miami to Jakarta, from Bangkok to Lagos, are all asking how to stay livable in the decades ahead. Rotterdam's floating neighborhoods are one answer among many, but they demonstrate a mindset shift. Instead of assuming the only path is to keep the water out at all costs, planners are beginning to design spaces that can live alongside it. Storm season is the ultimate test of that idea. A floating neighborhood that works in calm weather is interesting. A floating neighborhood that remains functional, safe, and comfortable during storms is something much more significant. It shows whether the concept is not just visually striking, but structurally sound and socially practical. And in Rotterdam, that test is being taken seriously. The city's engineers and planners have a long tradition of innovation. Rotterdam has experimented with water squares that temporarily store rainwater, buildings elevated against floods, and architecture designed to absorb rather than resist water. Floating neighborhoods fit naturally into that broader urban strategy. They are part of a city-wide philosophy. Use design to adapt, not just defend. For residents, the benefits are concrete. During heavy rain, the home does not sit in the same way a fixed building does. If water levels rise, the structure rises too. That reduces the risk of certain kinds of flood damage. It can also reduce stress for residents who know they are living in a place designed with extreme weather in mind. But the emotional side matters too. People often talk about the sense of peace they feel living near water. In a floating neighborhood, that feeling is intensified. There is a rhythm to the environment. The water changes with the season, the sky changes with the weather, and the home remains part of that larger system. For some, that creates a sense of balance. For others, it can feel unusual at first, especially during storm season when the environment becomes more active and dramatic. And yet, even in rough weather, the idea is not fear. It is adaptation. That may be the most important lesson of all. Rotterdam's floating neighborhoods are not about escaping climate change. They are about responding to it intelligently. They are about designing homes that can handle uncertainty. They are about turning water from a threat into a condition of life. And that is why they attract attention from architects, engineers, urban planners, and anyone curious about the future of cities. As storm season continues to challenge low-lying places around the world, the lessons from Rotterdam become more relevant every year. Floating neighborhoods show that homes can be built to move with nature rather than against it. They show that resilience does not always mean walls, barriers, and hard lines. Sometimes resilience means flexibility. Sometimes it means floating. So when you picture life in Rotterdam during storm season, don't imagine chaos on the water. Imagine a carefully engineered neighborhood where people cook dinner, do homework, take calls, and watch the rain sweep across the harbor from homes that rise and fall with the tide. It is modern, unusual, and deeply practical. It is a reminder that the future of urban living may not be built only on land. If you found this fascinating, make sure to like the video, subscribe for more stories about unusual places and smart city design, and leave a comment with the one thing you would want to know before living in a floating neighborhood.